but I want to bring him up here. Last one we're going to talk about. We did a few profiles of these internal, because they're the most important, because all the crackers are our enemies, but internally we got to do some house cleaning. So we went through some Negro treason. But I just want to show you, just to make that last point about sexual aggression. One of the most hate-filled murderers of African people in the 20th century. One of the white males who was on the pulse of black struggle, who assaulted and fought against every black movement that came out. His name was Gay Edgar Hoover. We can call him Gay Edgar for short. His name was J. Edgar Hoover. We call him Gay Edgar Hoover. And we just want to go through very briefly and talk about some of the things he did. One, he helped in cohesion with the homos, A. Philip Randolph and a bunch. The small hatch, Judge Julian Mack, who was a high-ranking official of the NAACP. And this fag right here was in charge of FBI, got Marcus Garvey convicted, locked up, and taken out of this country. And one of the first Pan-Africanist movements that had worldwide exposure and was moving African people in the same direction was killed. Right here you see this homo. But he didn't stop. He attacked the Nation of Islam. Let's give his brother a hand. Let's give brother Marcus Garvey a hand. Let's give the most honorable Elijah Muhammad a hand. They said, I'm reading a book now, they have more files. Certified Directory, American Directory of Certified Uncle Toms. It's right up here. Get it if you can. There are more files in the FBI government files on the Nation of Islam than any other organization, including the Ku Klux Klan, all of them organizations. They were trying, they were constantly under assault by this cracker. As a matter of fact, this cracker went so far, after Malcolm was killed, he wrote a letter. 2 weeks before King was killed, he wrote a document. He said, we have to stop the rise, and I'm summing it up. We got to stop, I'm paraphrasing, we got to stop the rise of a black messiah who could electrify the masses, who could create a real Mau Mau-like revolution in America. He said, Malcolm X could have been that one, but of course Malcolm was dead. He said Elijah Muhammad could have been that one, except perhaps his age prevents him from really being the one. So he said he's a little older now, we don't have to worry about him. He said Martin Luther King, it's 2 weeks before King's killed. Martin Luther King could be that one if he stops acting obedient and following white authority. And then he said, the last one he said, was Stokely Carmichael, who's Kwame Ture, has the necessary charisma to be that one. Shortly after we see the murder and slaughter of so many black people and the end of the Black Power movement a few years later, COINTELPRO. By this individual, a program started, counterintelligence program, where they sent in Panthers to different groups and infiltrators and told the brothers that other brothers were trying to kill them and set up rival killings and murders and had us fighting amongst one another. A government-sponsored program started and coming out the mind of this sick, child molester. He was a child molester and he's a homosexual who lived his whole life unmarried with Tolson, who's his boyfriend who he brought in, just like King James, brought Tolson into the FBI. They lived together and traveled together, were never hardly separable. That was his lifelong companion, and at the same time murdering African people. What about the Panthers? We talked about that. What about the pure, cold-blooded murder of our brother Fred Hampton? 21-year-old superstar in the black liberation movement. Going with the Panthers, 21 years old. Got a child on the way for his 18-year-old girlfriend laying in the bed. Got a Negro informer, paid him $300 for his work too. Got $300 bonus. He gave the plans to Fred Hampton's home to the FBI. Hoover gave the word and the police went in and shot and blew the brains out of Fred Hampton in his sleep. Made his wife, his girlfriend, walk out the house naked, pregnant, murdered, cold blood. Gay Edgar Hoover. Don't you ever think of a faggot again as nothing soft or sensitive or something funny. Ain't nothing, but these are killers of African people. They killers. We just talked about our brother here who actually left the country because he was a very smart brother. He realized this movement has slowed down. We got a lot of informants and the next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to be killed. He wasn't afraid. He just knew the climate was not conducive for him staying here. He said, let me go to Africa, regroup. Start the All-African Revolutionary Party, regroup, and see if we can do things worldwide. And it was a very wise decision he made because they were after him next. And so we're going to finish up here, brothers and sisters. And I just want you to see some of the faces. Some we've talked about, some we haven't. But this is what death looks like. This is what the end of African people looks like. Look, genocide, in order to understand it, you have to look at how it works. If we take the red people, and we just saw Sister Warrior Woman, a red woman who's fighting for the red people in this country. But suffice it to say, for our purpose, we can say that's genocide. If we study it, we understand what genocide looks like, not from our ideas in our head, but from history. The last stages before the real genocide of a people is when they take your children. And Europeans begin to sexually play with them and adopt them. And then do what they will and train your children in their institutions. And turn you into a sexual bunch of degenerates and misfits, and then slowly begin to just slaughter you. So that they have eradicated the inside, so that it becomes nothing to destroy the outside. Whereas if you were internally strong, you knew who you were, you had some value in yourself, and you didn't agree with black oppression and white power, you would fight. If they can corrupt you and overwhelm you with so much pain and turmoil in your life and in your soul and in your heart that you can't function normally, we will run around like a helpless bunch of fools bumping into each other, destroying each other, while the right race has their way with us and our children and eventually the race. So brothers and sisters, suffice it to say, this is not a game. Nothing funny about this homosexuality. There's nothing funny about our children taking on these feminine things, watching the Martin Lawrences. This is a war.
It's an absolute war.
My hope is that you watch this now and you identify the war. Right now we are in the stages, we starting from scratch, brothers and sisters, of educating our people on what white sex is. And that this is genocide. What is racism and white supremacy? At some point, and it can't be too long away, we have to be organized to the point where we can say, now it's time for enforcement. We're not there. We just put the word out there now. Whisper in the wind. Plant some seeds. For the point where we have the strength to say, anybody that touches a black child must die. There's no in between. There's no help. Your help is death. Let God help them. If you can't act right here with our children, let God help them.
That's right.
Or the devil or the cracker, whoever the hell you believe in after you leave here. Let them work with you if you want to mess with our children. The time will come for enforcement when we say, we are not going to allow anybody to be indulged in same sexual misbehavior. And if you insist upon doing that, then you have two options. You can die on the left or you can die on the right.
Right. That's right.
You can pick your side, but you got to go.
That's right.
We are not going to tolerate it. Give our people time to heal, but the reality of it is we don't have time to fight this war.
That's right.
So we get into the process of enforcement. We put the word out there. Our people know now. We share this with people. We let people know this is wrong. And at some point, it gets to the point where we say, okay, we all know. You know, everybody's aware of the fact that this is an assault. Now we got to start changing. Now you can't touch our children. If you do, you know what happens. Now you can't engage in this stuff no more. You can't do it. It's killing us. And then we can begin to look at the real war against the race that is savagely assaulting the world. And we can do something about ourselves. And if we want to just know what it looks like to fight white oppression, what men and women who are not effeminized in a race look like, who will fight this type of oppression and aggression, let's take a look at some of the faces.
There you go, man.
That's right. Not one of them would agree with this madness. Not one of them. And they fought for our people. And we see it from all over the world. Africans who have integrity. They have something on the inside. Something on the inside that allowed them to do what they did for our race, brothers and sisters. These are the people we have to share with our children. Yeah. Not nobody that told us to lay down and die. We got to get out of these churches. We got to get off this, we got to get rid of this hip hop.
Right. Yeah.
This hat hop. Yeah. This death-sponsored music by small hats, white who call themselves Jews, who are sponsoring the death and decay of African people worldwide. If they're not stripping black people naked in South Africa, after we come out the diamond mines and mine their diamonds, then they're putting black men naked on TV as sexual objects, or presenting black women as some out-of-control monsters who are just dying for some kind of the next sexual encounter. We have enemies, brothers and sisters. And this is what somebody looks like who fights oppression. Not no dress, not no switching. They don't be nice. Ain't nothing nice to talk about when you're under assault.
Right.
That's where we are. We in the real home. This is where it starts. This is where people make decisions that they're going to live a different type of life.
That's right.
That they're not going to let the same thing slide tomorrow that we let slide yesterday. Where we make some changes in ourselves, we get ourselves together as best we can, and we go out here and say we're going to change something, we're going to change the world, we're going to be African people, we're going to fight or die, and if they do destroy us, they're not going to destroy a hapless people. We're going to make this a thriller.
That's right.
Somebody got to hurt us, somebody got to die too.
That's right.
You're going to kill our children, kill your children too.
That's right.
And you're going to strip us of everything on the inside, even though you're a cracker. We know you ain't got nothing on the inside, but we still strip you of whatever you do get. If you're going to fight against us, we fight back against you. We got to be that kind of people. That's what we got to get to. We're not there today, but that's what we got to do. Let the world know that the black race is here. We ain't going nowhere unless it's over your dead body. Our God, come on, don't give up every action. Peace to all y'all, baby. The death already.
The irritated genie. Kush, the black unified.
The black male.
Southpaw.
Effeminization of the black male.
Yeah. They say Zeus descended as an eagle and kidnapped this young boy named Ganymede. He forced this young boy to be his lover. How sick is that? The Greek god known as Zeus was a twisted cat. They say he had many faces and wore many hats. Homosexuality accepted by blacks, but when I backtrack, I see no history as European trickery. We weren't involved in such white sex acts. You disagree, the burden's on you to prove it existed. In Africa amongst the original Egyptians, show me bestiality in Kemet. Show me pyramids where homosexuality was represented. The image imprinted. You can't cause it ain't kosher. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on.
Effeminization of the black male.
Take them earrings out. Julius Caesar was every man's wife and every woman's husband. Columbus raped Indian boys by the dozen. The Middle Passage, blacks yelling and suffering across the Atlantic. Chained down in pain, somehow they survived. Although effeminized by the white bandits, death and disease left some slaves stranded, floating in the ocean where their bodies were examined by the sharks. Hey, in the dark they will follow, waiting for a taste of this human cargo. Those sharks didn't swallow, were put on sex farms, made it and forced to use white sex norms. Incest, sex with your cousin and your sister. How can we forget all that they done to us? Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on.
Effeminization of the black male.
Pull your pants up, take the earrings out. James Baldwin and William Styron were interracial homosexual lovers that decided to architect and construct a new version of Nat Turner's life that would marginalize them. Damn, James, how you do that? Team up with a cracker to downplay what Nat did, put an axe to the master. You knew what Nat Turner meant to blacks. I read your poems, you had your hands on the pulse of the people. It seemed that Nat Turner represented a dangerous role before Martin King. Maybe you should review the roots, a literary genius. Why'd you let this William come between us? Nat Turner lives and he'll always be seen as the meanest slave ever, the cracker beheader. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on.
Effeminization of the black male.
Take the earrings out, pull your pants up. NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association. Team that were gays and fought for rights. They all sick, one and the same. They think it's okay to screw boys at 14. They gone insane. Jump shot, dribble, bounce pass. It's all the same game, blow the whistle. They foul fags, more than a little. And why we practicing their sex rituals? Some say I'm spewing hate. I say they used African babies as alligator bait. Let me navigate up to 2008, 2009, 2010. They selling black kids to homosexual men and lesbos too, man. We gotta step in. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on. Am I wrong for fighting this 10,000-pound gorilla in the song? Bring it on.
Effeminization of a black male.
You know what? About a summer ago, we had an epidemic of white males in the park, and the police were literally